Yo, what's up? This is Munky from KORN, and you're listening to United Rock Nations.
Hello, guys of United Rock Nations. We are an amazing company with Munky of KORN. How are you?
I'm well, man. I'm healthy. I've had this stupid COVID crap. I've had it twice now.
Oh,
Yeah,
at the moment you have it?
I don't now. I
Okay,
had it 2 weeks ago, and finally I got through it. So I'm healthy. You know, I got a kick-ass immune system, and we're planning shows at the end of the month, and then we're planning a tour in March, and then we're planning to come to Europe and play some big festivals, and get to come to France. So I'm really
absolutely.
excited. I haven't been there in a long time, and I miss it.
Absolutely. We miss you also because we love a lot KORN. So we know that this time for the new album, you didn't have any pressure to record the album. So what were you able to do for Requiem that you couldn't do for the previous albums?
I think taking our time recording it. I feel like once we had the songs written, I feel like we okay, like let's how are we gonna craft this now and kind of make it sound. We want the audio to sound incredible. We want the one of the best sounding records I feel like in our catalog was the album Untouchables.
Absolutely.
And we kind of yeah, that album like sonically it sounds amazing. So to reach that bar is pretty high. Um, we used a lot of the similar techniques. We recorded with tape, analog, uh, kind of cleared out a lot of the clutter of, not too many effects, not too many guitar tracks, not, leave some space, let the drums kind of breathe on the tape machine. So a lot of those maybe techniques that we used 20 years ago, we're
Oh,
using, now. We've collected so much incredible analog gear from from 25 plus years of being in this band. We have it all in one spot now, and that we can, except for all my shit here. Now I'll
uh,
show you just a little, like some guitar stuff here that I have at. This is in my home studio.
so listening the album, just before you said that you bring back the old, back to the roots, to the 2000 period. How do you explain that musical orientation and back to the roots from if we're comparing to the first album of your career?
Well, compared to the first album, we had no fucking idea what we were doing. We had no clue as to, this is the chorus, this is the hook. We didn't understand any of that because we were just like, just these pissed off kids. And that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty, and you can hear them in those first two albums. Just the pure expression of, anger, or however you like. Uh, we didn't understand. And when Ross Robinson was producing those first two records we did,
Absolutely.
he knew that we didn't know, and he wasn't going to teach us because he saw the beauty in it, and he saw the innocent, these five innocent people who were just become this one unit and just this hairy ball of anger or whatever. Um, and he didn't want to touch it. He didn't want to taint it with too much technical crap, and he just wanted to get it on tape and record it because he knew it was something special. And once we heard it back, we were like, "Wow, this is better than we thought."
Absolutely.
So we had no idea it was going to be turned into a multi-decade career. But so once after being in the studio, to answer your question, it took time and experience and testing techniques and understanding, like, oh, now I can look back on our first record and be like, okay, this was the chorus. We didn't call it that. We just called it this next part. Okay, and then we'll do the part before that, and we'll do this beginning of the song. We understood, and now I guess, kind of seasoned songwriters at this point,
Yes.
where we know how to build up the song and take the listener on more of a journey. And Jonathan is a lot more savvy with his lyrics, you know.
Absolutely.
And so all of us kind of, yeah, we've learned through the years without kind of put ourselves through our own little musical college, um, thankfully, through the help of our fans,
Absolutely.
because they've been so gracious and loyal through the years and understanding every record's going to be different because as creative people, we have to change direction slightly. It's going to be the same guys in the room recording, but for us, who wants to paint the same painting over and over again? You're going to try something different.
So, in term of songwriting, how did you divide the roles between you and Brian?
Well, a lot of times, I'll come up with a rhythmic idea, um, and this is something that was kind of an unsaid. You know, if I come up with the rhythm, he'll usually try to fit a melody around it and weave something interesting, or he'll come up with a rhythm and idea, and I'll try some sounds or noises, and I'm not really going to call what I do melodies. Sometimes I get lucky, but this is his strong point. His melodic sense is like he can, Jonathan too. Like sometimes Jonathan will write a melody over a part that Brian and I thought, how did you even come up with this? Because it's so dissonant or off sounding. The tonality is kind of atonal, and he'll find one thing, a string that's a note or two notes, and pull on it and uncover this melody that Head and I were like, wow, incredible. And that's again just from experience and him being in the studio experimenting with the right people. Also, you got to have the right person helping
You,
find
you
those
you have
those
Chris Collier with you.
Yeah, Chris is a new kind of new to us, and one of the great things about Chris is, other than he can play drums, play bass, play guitar, he can sing, he can really do it all, and he can engineer, he can produce. He's a really multi-talented guy. But one of the things he's good at is telling us when he's heard that riff before, and oh, you know what? That's cool, but I think there's a song on Follow the Leader that I've heard that on, and we'll kind of like, yeah, you're right. So he's challenging us to try new things, which is hard to do when you're 50 something years old.
Absolutely, absolutely.
You get used to the same. Oh, this is the chord, this is the chorus, and he's like, it's kind of something I've heard before, even if it's not identical. If he feels like it's something that's I've kind of heard you guys do something like that before, and it's not that interesting. We don't take it personally because the way he delivers it, the way also he has a guitar with him in the writing sessions a lot, and he'll be like, "That's cool, but what if we change this to a slight alteration of the progression, and it can be something completely fresh and new?" And we're like, "Wow, that's cool."
And how did you choose it? Him? How did you
We've
choose
been
him?
working like doing some editing for the past maybe 5-6 years with him. He'll go into a small room like this and record Brian and I with just click track recording ideas, and just as an engineer. And eventually, he kind of had more substantial sort of roles as a producer with some smaller bands, and we would go back and we thought, wow, we kind of understand the role of a producer so much now. We're older. It's not like you have to bait us with the 12 pack of beer to get to the studio anymore, like, or whatever else, other kind of substances to get us to the studio. Since we're kind of older, we understand that, there's a different sense of like, that's our fun now. That's our party is
Absolutely.
playing music. and he's a great guy. And once everybody agreed that he could take this role, and we know each other enough after this, 5 or 6 years, and everybody's temperament. We've worked with him on a few live recordings, going and fixing, some overdubs and a couple of live things, just to make. And we had so much fun doing it. We felt like this is the guy for us right now.
Absolutely. So let's talk about some songs of the album. I selected 2 songs that I want to talk about. The first one is Hopeless and Beaten. This song, listening to the album, is a different song comparing to the others. The verses sounds black and the chorus is melodic. And the way Jonathan sings on it, it's very fresh, very new. Tell us more about that song.
This song was kind of like, I felt like originally musically now speaking about the music, I wanted to come in with and I don't remember what inspired me, but I think it was an orchestral piece. But just with the big hits and the big opening, I wanted to sound very cinematic, like it's the opening of a movie, and it's da 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 type of ba 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 ba, that type of thing, where everybody's playing the same thing and it's making it, but there's space. So there's sort of you're making a statement, a very dark statement, with the chord progression we chose. And then it gets very small because we wanted to color this with a very light and dark kind of thing, almost like he's walking through it's almost like when I hear that verse after that big intro, I think it's just like some kid, or him as a kid, walking through just like a very in the middle of the winter with the breathing you can see the breath, and very kind of down about something, and in the middle of the night, just it's a haunting kind of a vibe, and man, he knocked that one out of the park,
And do you plan to make a video about it? No.
There's no plans to at the moment, but you never know.
A second song, Lost in the Grandeur, has a complex groove. Tell us more about that song.
This song, man, we've tried to put on the last 2 albums, and it finally made it on this album. It's this da 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 da, and it got shot down a few times because wherever musically Head and I were trying to take it from there was always a challenge. And we found this interesting verse and then a very melodic chorus to finally loop this back into itself. That we were just like, it has to be on the record because it hadn't made it. And we kept Chris Collier, and he's like, oh man, this riff again, like every day, just as a joke. And then it was like, well, how could we? All right. Then he kind of shifted his. How you guys really love that riff? Let's really figure out where can we take it. And it became one of my favorite tracks on the record.
Oh, great.
Okay. I love that chorus.
Okay.
It's so like I don't know. It just reminds me of like a gothic kind of like. The bridge of the song too, the way it turns around, it's one of my favorite moments on the record.
Right. So we will have the pleasure to see you at the Hellfest in France this year. What is your feeling about playing again at the Hellfest?
I cannot wait because I love that little town. I love it. I have great memories there. And every time I go there, I discover something new about the town. It's a little bit of a drive to the festival site, and then there's some small roads to get there. But the way that the production of the whole festival site is really unlike no other. Nobody has been able to do it like this promoter, like the production designer for the festival, it's one of the best in the world.
Oh, great.
He's done it an amazing job of creating that place, and it's one of my favorites in the world to play. So it's not just a stage and a bunch of people.
Yes, exactly.
It's a whole village. It's many different sides to that I haven't even seen yet, because it's kind of hard for me to get around and get a hair in the hat and glasses and to go see stuff. But it is really, really one of the coolest.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mark. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Hope to see you over
Bye.
the summer.
Bye.